This second committee resolution further recognizes the linkage between climate change and land degradation that fuel each other. This has already been mentioned as well by a colleague from the US. As we speak, our colleagues have gathered in Lima to discuss climate change. And we must bring this link to their attention. Climate change, with increased flooding and droughts in many areas, accelerates land degradation, which in turn leads to lower rates of sequestration of carbon emissions. It is therefore our strong view that any new climate change regime to be adopted in 2015 should underline the importance of land-based adaptation and resilience. In the upcoming negotiations on the post-2015 agenda, we must maintain the emphasis on sustainable land management and the importance of achieving a land degradation neutral world. This is fundamental if we are to provide food for an ever-increasing population and will be instrumental in the maintenance of ecosystems and for mitigating and adapting to climate change. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hannigan, and let me congratulate you on Iceland's success, and thank you for your kind offer to share your experiences in land management and for updating the audience on the current efforts, both here at the Second Committee of the General Assembly and in Lima. I now have the pleasure to give the floor to Dr. David Lindrow, Soil Science Society of America. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Your Royal Highness, Excellencies, distinguished representatives. Also thank you to Global Soil Partnership and the Food and Agriculture Organization for promoting World Soil Day and the International Year of Soils. The Soil Science Society of America is dedicated to the understanding and promoting all aspects of soils, from agriculture to the environment, to all people. I also want to thank some of the partners that we're going to be working with for the next year. The United States Department of Agriculture, Natural Resources Conservation Service, the International Union of Soil Science, the National Committee on Soil Science with the National Academy of Sciences. We are going to be working with them for the next year with the International Year of Soil to celebrate. So why soils? There's a question that I often get when I'm teaching. A lot of people simply say, it's just dirt, right? And of course the answer is no. We all know that is not true. We know that soil, along with air, sunlight, water, is one of the four things that we cannot live without. For without soil, there would be no food, there would be no fiber for clothing, there would be no wood, clay, or brick for our homes. So without soil, we would be hungry, homeless, and naked. So what do we need to do to start teaching people and telling them how to celebrate the soil, to celebrate the International Year of Soils? First, make sure they understand soil is not dirt. We can live without dirt. We cannot live without soil. And we cannot nor should not treat our soil like dirt. Soil provides our food, clothing, and shelter. It regulates our environment. It cleans our water. Soil is deeply connected to our culture through literature, art, and religion. We've heard soil is alive. Think about a teaspoon of soil. There are more organisms in that teaspoon of soil than there are people on the planet Earth. These organisms are vital to our health and our soil health, as we have heard. Fourth, soil is a non-renewable resource. It may take hundreds to thousands of years to develop a centimeter of soil, but only a few minutes to destroy it. So again, we cannot treat our soil like dirt. To help spread the word about the importance of soil, the Soil Science Society of America has developed for the next year 12 monthly themes to help celebrate. Our themes are the soil sustain life, urban soils, soils support agriculture, soils clean and capture water, soils support buildings and infrastructure, soils support recreation, soils are living, soils support health, soils protect the natural environment, soils are the products we use, which there are so many, soil and climate. And I think probably the most exciting for some would be soils, culture, and people, connecting it back to a personal level. Each month we will have a short video that will be premiered on the web, www.soils.org/IYS. We will also have related activities for primary and secondary school teachers as well as the general public to of soils. And let's not forget our I Heart Soil campaign. There are materials in the back of the room. I hope you will all pick them up and ask more questions of us about how to help promote soil. So for the next year and beyond, we must remember, if you know soil, you will know life. And if there is no soil, there will be no life. So soil sustain life. Thank you again, Your Excellency, and Your Royal Highness, for this opportunity to speak about soils to such an enlightened audience.
Thank you, Mr. Lindros. I think we should work with you more because you have so many slogans that easily resonate with many of us. But I take from that if a message that if you don't want to be hungry, homeless, or naked, don't treat soil like that. So thank you very much. Thank you. I have my next speaker on my list is Mr. William O'Neill, International Fertilizer Industry Association, or IFA.
Your Royal Highness, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, thank you for having invited the private sector and the fertilizer industry to this historic event. It is wonderful to see so many of the people here to celebrate together World Soil Day and the International Year of Soil. The International Fertilizer Industry Association, IFA, on behalf of its 560 members in more than 80 countries, is delighted to be part of the Global Soil Partnership. We're also pleased to support and participate in the celebrations of the International Year of Soil. Crop nutrients are supplied together by organic fertilizers and mineral fertilizers and are vital to maintain and restore soil fertility. The fertilizer industry's mission is to produce macronutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and sulfur, and micronutrients such as zinc, boron, selenium, and iodine, which are used by farmers worldwide and needed by plants, animals, and humans. The industry's role is also to educate agricultural retailers and farmers on good agronomic practices based on the 4 R's principles: the right source of nutrient at the right rate, at the right time, and in the right place. Fertilizers need to be used appropriately so that the nutrients are taken up by the crops and not released in the environment. There is a common misconception that supporting the use of mineral fertilizers means opposing the use of organic sources of nutrients. Nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, most agronomists agree that optimal nutrient management entails starting with on-farm sources of nutrients and then supplementing them with mineral fertilizers. The integration of organic and inorganic sources of nutrients should be promoted. Farmers are stewards of our land and soil. We believe key actions need to be taken to support them. In particular, promoting adoption of integrated soil fertility management programs around the world. Secondly, providing farmers access to quality and affordable fertilizers tailored to their soils, in particular in regions where soils have been depleted and yields are too low. And number 3, revitalizing extension services provided by public and private agencies, or a mix of both, to provide the tools, but also the knowledge, so that the fertilizers are used appropriately to the greatest efficiency. The fertilizer industry and the whole private sector wishes to work with all scientists, government, civil society, and development agencies to raise the issues of soil around the world. Happy World Soil Day. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I thank Mr. William O'Neill of the International Fertilizer Industry Association for your very valuable information, particularly on the proper use of fertilizer, chemical, and organic, the issue of the revitalization of soil. And finally, we welcome your offer from the association and the private sector to work together on the World Soil Day. I have as my last speaker on my list Mr. Pedro Sanchez. He is Senior Research Scholar and Director, Agriculture and Food Security Center at the Earth Institute, Columbia University in New York. Mr. Sanchez.
Thank you very much. And Your Excellencies, Royal Highness, I was at the 2002 International Soil Science Congress, where I saw you from a distance, and I'm glad that that has come to be real. I'm a tropical soil scientist, been there all my life, and professor and so on. But I want to say a couple of things. One, the principal region in the world where the race between food production and population is being lost is sub-Saharan Africa. And people did not pay much attention to soils issues. They said there were all sorts of other problems. And now we know very clearly that actually the main reasons why the Green Revolution didn't take off in Africa is because of soil nutrient depletion. A very insidious kind of soil degradation that you cannot see with your eyes. But farmers simply were taking too many nutrients out and not putting them back. That's why the yields are about 1/3 of what the yields are in Latin America, in the rest of Asia, 1/5 of what the yields are in China, 1/10 of what the yields are in North America, and Europe, and Japan. Therefore, I think this is something that is now being accepted in scientific organizations, certainly FAO and the World Soils Partnership is influencing. But I think I would like to say that the correction of soil nutrient depletion will be the key factor whether Africa can feed itself or not in the next few decades. I think it can, but it means the work of everybody. I'm a member of the National Committee of Soil Science of the National Academy of Sciences in this country, and I would like to announce that there will be a one-day seminar on September 18th in Washington called Security Without Soil. And this is focusing on the security-related issues. And we'll have people from the military and that kind of stuff to talk about that issue that has not come to force very often. And then the next week, on September 28th, my institution, Columbia University, will hold a one-day seminar here in New York City at our campus in the Upper West Side called Soils in the City. And the idea here is basically to educate, make clear to the urban elites that have very little, if any, contact with soil and agriculture, the basics of soils and agriculture, since where do the soils come from, the fact that fertilizers do not poison the soil if they're used correctly, the fact that organic and inorganic sources should be used together, and many things like that. So please save the date, September 23rd, on Wednesday, and it'll be just a one-day seminar. But we hope also that we do our part in tackling this issue that a lot of the urban elites around the world do not understand soils or agriculture. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. We certainly note the dire situation of the effect of soil degradation on crop outputs around the world in many of the continents, but we appreciate your optimism that the situation can be turned around. And yes, we can. So we appreciate that. Before closing, I thank all of you for your important remarks, and I cannot close before asking those on the panel whether they have any comments or response to those reported remarks? Thank you. So thank you. In closing, let me extend our sincere appreciation to all the distinguished speakers here with us for their time and invaluable contributions to this event. To you, members of the audience, particularly members of the private sector, the academia, NGOs, and civil society, thank you for your interest, your attendance, and active participation. We hope that this event today has provided not only useful information, but have contributed to the ongoing discussion of soils, especially in the context of food security and nutrition, sustainable agriculture, and sustainable development at the United Nations and worldwide. Qatar, Thailand, and the Food and Agriculture Organization earnestly hope that this event will, more than ever, highlight the important and great value of soils in maintaining the ecosystem balance, which is essential to sustainable development and mankind. And we hope that next year, perhaps more member states will join us in celebrating this World Soil Day. I cannot end my remarks without expressing our sincere thanks and appreciation to our partners at WHO, and in particular, Ambassador Al-Thani and the Staff Commission of Qatar for another successful collaboration and cooperation between our two missions. And before closing, let me remind you that at 6:15 p.m. this evening, we will have the screening of a film entitled Symphony of the Soil at the United Nations Auditorium. The film will be followed by a light cocktail reception. The flyers can be found in front of you, so those that don't have it, please, I'm sure we have more to distribute. And we are indeed very fortunate to have with us today Ms. Deborah Coons Garcia, the director of the film, and she will also be at the film screening. Are you here, Ms. Garcia? So if you have the time, please join us at the film screening. So thank you very much for your participation, for your interest, and enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Those that don't have to attend the meeting, thank you.